Welcome to the BoshNRoll channel. If you want to support my daily Eternal Magic offerings while getting amazing perks like the BoshNRoll Discord community, have me play your deck on the channel, or listen sideboard guides before tournaments, check out the Patreon or YouTube membership program. This channel is possible because of these amazing sponsors. Check them out, all their links are in the video description. As always, thanks for being here. Let's go play some Magic. Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today I'm playing Modern at the request of Patreon subscriber Palpatine. And this is 4-color Keruga. Keruga the Macro Sage, 3 blue-green hybrid. Companion, your deck can only have cards that cost 3 or greater and lands. And when this enters the battlefield, draw a card for each other permanent you control with mana value 3 or greater. Obviously, having cards in your deck that only cost 3 or more is a bit of a deck building restraint. However, there's another deck in the format that can only play cards that cost 3 or more. There's actually 2 of them, and it's all of the Cascade decks. We've got Living End and Rhinos in the format, and we've got a pretty good blueprint for how to build these decks. The pitch elementals obviously just slam dunks here. We've got Solitude, Endurance, and Subtlety all in this deck, alongside 4 copies of Omnath. Teferi Time Raveler is a banger, and then to interact, lower on the curve, Dead Gone, and Fire Ice. These can help fend off early stuff while you get your mana set up under you. Other options include Brazen Borrower, that's not in this list. Force of Negation is legal here if we would want it. If you want to get really creative, there's Colossal Sky Turtle and Mirror Shell Crab. There's options, is what I'm saying. And this is kind of built like the Rhinos deck, except instead of making 2 4/4s when you do your thing, you are just an Omnath deck at the top end. I have on this channel in both Modern and Legacy played the hybrid version, where it's basically this deck, but you don't get Keruga because you're also cascading into Rhinos, but then you have the elementals at the top end. I have not played just the top end elementals without the Wrenn and 6, without the prismatic ending, without that sort of stuff. And I'm pretty excited because Keruga gives us a reason to do that. The plan is pretty simple. Stay alive and then bury your opponent in cards and elementals. Let's just get into it. This is Palpatine's 4-color Keruga. I'm on the play in round 1. I've revealed my Keruga. I have Solitude for early interaction. I only have 2 lands here. What is the land count in this deck? It's 24, which means there's 22 lands in my 53 card deck. I get 2 draws before I'm sad about it. I'll try this. And I'm just going to hit my land drops and see what my opponent's up to. Hope they're not coming too fast here. Concealed Courtyard. That's not usually in slow decks. I'm just getting grief scammed immediately. Oh, this is disappointing because I would love to Solitude this grief right now, but because they have white mana, they can ephemerate it. What did they exile? Another grief. All right, yeah, I'm just getting scammed here. They're going to take the Solitude, just 1000%. They had the Not Dead. Solitude would have beat that. Solitude gets blown out if they have Ephemerate, just kind of 50-50. I don't even know if it's 50-50. Maybe it's 66-33. Maybe it's 100-0. I don't know. Sick. Got there on the land, though. I just have to not die in 5 hits to this grief. Stoneforge Mystic, oh no. I might lose very quickly. Cauldron complete. Yeah, I said 5 hits. It's closer to 3 now. The Triumph in the deck does pop off Godless Shrine, though. We have a Ketria Triumph. There's also Zagoth, but Ketria gets all the colors that aren't black-white. I'm just going to get the spread here. There are Leyline Bindings in the deck. We can do stuff. Guess I'm just grabbing big Kerugs here, taking a million, and hoping I'm not dead, though I think I am. The One Ring buys me an extra turn. Solitude's a great find if I can get that. Dead Gone plays. I'm taking 9 here, I go to 6. Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff that removes Cauldron from play. Oh, this fetch land puts me to 5, though, which means that if I use that, Stoneforge Mystic's lethal. I'm running out of options here. Oh, and if I answer the grief, I take 1, because that's how Wicked Rolls work. Oh, they're just doing that now. I lose a life from the Wicked Roll. I'm at 5. I have 2 with a card I actually care about, which is Omnath. I took Elish Norn. Okay. I'm going to play my Windswept Heath and pass. I'm at 1. All of this sucks. None of this is going to work. They're flickering Grief again. I will respond by binding the Cauldron Germ. Do I take the Germ or the Cauldron here? If they flicker the Cauldron, I will have preferred to take the Cauldron. If they... Or hold on. It doesn't matter. Yeah, I just take the Germ here. Because if they can flicker the Cauldron itself, they get a Germ back anyway. And this at least plays around removal spell on top of it. And because they flickered their Grief rather than pushing the 3 damage, I can afford to fetch now. This could happen, team. Dauthi Voidwalker. I'm not going to fetch in response, because if I draw an untapped land, I'm going to need this fetch land to gain 4 life. And I do have basics I can fetch. Let me make sure. Red, white, or green, white. Oh, I actually don't. Hold on. My green's already in play. Black is not a color that Omnath is. I think I actually need to fetch here and get a blue source or a red source into play. Oh, I hate that. Okay. This sucks, but I'm doing it. Okay, this gives me blue. The Ketria Triumph's red. Just get a tap land out of the way. If there's a land in my top 2 cards. If there's a land in my top card. Come on, deck. Land. We're dead. Okay, I mean, for how much heat we were taking there, that actually became pretty reasonable. Anger of the God seems good here. Subtlety is good here. I don't care about the Charmaws or Crumbles. Cosmic Rebirth. Mana value 3 or less, put it onto the battlefield. I mean, this is like more Fables, Endurances, and Teferis, I guess, but... and lands. This doesn't seem that good. I'm going to put it in the maybe pile, though. The Drannith Magistrate and the Chalice of the Void are for Cascade decks only because they turn off Keruga. And you don't just bring those in if you're not making a full juke. Force of Vigor does not seem important in this matchup. The Elish Norn, while good, is just a 5-drop that doesn't matter for a very long time. Endurance, kind of relevant. They do use their graveyard a little bit. I could stop here and just not bring in the Cosmic Rebirths. This is a ramp spell, though, with a fetch land. I think I might actually need that. This is getting from 3 mana to 5 suddenly is pretty powerful here. I'm almost out of green cards to support Endurance anyway. I understand that they use their graveyard at least a little bit, but they also kind of can do stuff without using their graveyard. Okay, I'm trying it like this. Reveal my Keruga, and lands and spells keep. Let's see how fast they come out at me here. It's a Thoughtseize. I'm not going to cycle Lorien Revealed. I think my spells are too good between the Teferi and the Fable that they can't afford to try to mana screw me. Wow, they did take it. Okay. Kudos for your bravery. Maybe that's super smart. Maybe it's insane. We'll find out soon. Ketria Triome. Yeah, Sacred Foundry. Always had it. I'm going to ice their land here. Maybe that's worse than just like killing a Stoneforge Mystic. But if they don't have Stoneforge Mystic, if they have, I guess it would kill Dauthi Voidwalker too. I don't know. That just feels right to me. Cutting off their options until I can get Fable into play. Ooh, and no play at all from the Peanut Gallery. We did it. Sacred Foundry, zap it in. I think Fable is better than Teferi. Okay, pitching Dauthi Voidwalker. They were planning on grief scamming me last turn, and tapping their 1 land was a full-time walk. They took Leyline Binding, and they are not dead after all. This one's probably going to take... Well, the Cosmic Rebirth's actually the nuts here, because if they take Teferi, I just rebirth it, and I get 3 life plus a Teferi. Unless they're packing Graveyard Hate over there. Or grief me again right now. Okay, Solitude. That doesn't matter. Pitching Mana Tithe. Ooh, dirty. I wonder if they drew that after I iced them. That would have been so perfect. Oh, wow. They're going all the way in. Okay. They are taking the Cosmic Rebirth. They've got it all. Yeeted their whole hand here. They just have to beat this grief. They fire Ice. I could loot that away, try to find the land to cast Omnath. Yeah, I think I am going to loot this away. Blue, white, green, red. We did it. Good job, Omnath. Okay, they have 1 card in their hand. Gotta figure out what 1 card beats an Omnath from 1 land. Nothing is the answer. Okay. They really went for the scam and jam situation over there. And, I mean, I don't know how good that icing their land for the turn was, but that might have been good with one less turn to operate, and now they're on the play. Yeah, I'm going to submit. I still think Eilish Norn, even though she is nutso once she's in play, is just too much to ask. Okay, scam me, daddy. I'm going to keep. Opponent mulled to 5. Godless Shrine. And Thoughtseize. I lose my Cosmic Rebirth. You did it. I think this is a game where I keep my Ketria Triome as a rebuy later on. Please cast another discard spell and not a Stoneforge Mystic. Right Climb Pathway. Okay. I'm going to get the Zagoth in here. Zagoth goes with Sacred Foundry to get all my types. Oh, cool. That's a castable spell. Don't have that many of those. I'm going to hold on to this. I'm not going to do the ice thing because they made it clear they don't have a spell anyway. And this does kill Stoneforge Mystics and Dothy Voidwalkers and the things that I identified that I'm worried about. Basic Plains. White, red, green, blue. Yeah, Basic Plains does fill out the spread here. I'm not going to get Keruga. That's just a free thing for them to discard. If they do something, I have Fire, Ice to interact. If they don't do something, I'll cycle Ketria Triome. They could have Orcish Bowmaster. That is a legal card in the format that can be cast with their mana. They did not Bowmaster in the end step, if that is what they have. They appear to be largely farting around over there. They could have been waiting for my cycle land, but that seems like a spew on how well you can use a Bowmaster. I love this. Just verifying there's a Steam Vents in the deck. There is. I can double Fire, double Ice, or just hardcast Subtlety. I like my spot here. Taking advantage of the old mull to 5, do nothing strategy for my opponent. Steam Vents come in, and I find an Omnath and get poppin'. Lorien Revealed. Okay, well, that's a plan for someday. Grief pitching Vindicate. I'm going to hardcast Subtlety. They've spent 2 cards on this, and I get to answer it and have a 3/3 body in play. And they will not get the ability to scam it because it's never in play. They do have 5 cards in their hand, and we're pretty sure they're all spells because they haven't made a land drop since turn 2. They might just re-scam over the top of this Subtlety. They could scam a Solitude, which I care way less about. They could double Mana Tithe. Luckily, that didn't happen. That would have been a really sad blowout. And Grief is just on top of their deck, and they're passing. Okay. Not a bad deal. Now I'm pushing damage, and they're going to try to Grief me again next turn. I could just have no spells in my hand and kill Grief. It doesn't sound great, but it is a fun exchange, and they're going to have to pitch cast that Grief if they want it. I could also ice both their lands and their upkeep, so they can't scam. They can still Grief. Then my hand is full of spells. I think this is worth doing. This is fun. I know they don't have any mana. Ice, ice, baby. Probably should have left up white in case I draw a Leyline Binding. And now they just have to... Okay, they're just conceding. Okay, they would have had to pitch cast Grief with no chance of scamming it. I have the Teferi to lock out scamming starting next turn, and then Keruga Awuga headed down the pipeline, drawing a bunch of cards on the turn after. Okay, this was mostly a mull to 5 and they didn't do anything, but it was fun to keep a hand with 6 lands in it and mitigate the possible impact of a Grief. On to the next round, undefeated with Keruga. This video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, the easiest way to build Magic decks online. Moxfield supports over 30 formats, including Legacy and everything else you'll see on this channel. There's multiple customizations so you can interact with your deck how you want. Views such as text, grid, or stacks, and groupings like type, subtype, color, color identity, even artist. The site offers light mode, dark mode, and so much more. However you want to see your deck, Moxfield can provide it for you. Follow my Moxfield to keep up with the channel and what I'm playing in paper. I'll see you there. We've got a Pokemon battle. Kahira versus Keruga. I'm going to keep my hand. It doesn't cast Ice, unfortunately, which is the cantrip that would help me find land number 3. I'm just going to hope that lands are forthcoming. Island, Preordain, Jelly. I don't get to do that. They topped the Preordain. Horrifying. Lorien Revealed, we did it. I'm going to cycle the Lorien Revealed for an appropriate Triome. I have red. I'm missing black and blue from my spread here. The Zagoth does both of those. Ketrio's just the blue, but more of the same other colors. I'll get the black-blue one. That locks up Domain and turns on the Fire Ice. They've Fetch Shocked in their end step. I imagine they're thinking about Tishana's Tidebinder, which, oh, maybe that should be in this deck. That card would be so good. Yeah, I should probably be playing that card, actually. Whoops. I shocked in my Sacred Foundry. I'm going to ice their Hallowed Fountain in the upkeep. Oh, what's this? Oh, look at you, you salty dog. All right. Maybe I was just supposed to slam Keruga in hand for this matchup. I'm getting beaten at my own game here. There, Jeskai. Come on, land drop. Disappointing. This is exactly what I was trying to avoid. I can subtlety this, pitching the Fire Ice, and try to untap with Omnath, or I could just try to outmuscle this. I think I'm just going to try to outmuscle it. If they minus, I can fire it. If they plus, I can Leyline Bind it. Land? One Ring. Okay, someday. Leyline Binding. Get that Teferi out of here, at least temporarily. At least till they find another Teferi and bounce that. I am missing a land drop. Now I'm going to move in on tapping their white source with Ice. Lorien Revealed. It's the scenic route, but it is a land. Okay, no white this turn. They're not going to re-Teferi me. Ooh, I could Teferi them. Cycling Lorien Revealed. I think I'm just going to slam Keruga into my hand here. White, green, red, blue. Okay. Basic Island is as good as anything here. We're out here. Kerugan. They've got a Lorien Revealed also. Hallowed Fountain. I will subtlety the hell out of a big Teferi if one hits the stack here. They shocked in Hallowed Fountain, and they're passing. Okay. I don't like that their deck is probably full of counterspells and mine isn't. Dead Gone's a brick. I could try to send it on Teferi and just see what shakes out here. I think casting a spell and getting it countered is better than just going to clean up, because I lose the card either way, and there's upside in Teferi at least if it resolves, which it won't. Reprieve. Wow, every step of the way they're ahead of me. I tried to play around a counterspell and not have to go to discard, but I'm going to have to do it anyway. I'm going to discard Dead Gone. Just think that's the worst card in my hand. Oh, Reprieve's really interesting. Are they no, they can't be a Kiki Jiki Resto deck because Kahira. Reprieve and Grindy control decks doesn't make sense. What are they pivoting onto? What's the joke here? There's another Teferi. I have another Binding. Bouncing the first Binding doesn't make a lot of sense because then they just Legend the Ruler Teferi and I get my Binding back. Okay. I'll play the land to make sure I don't get Spell Pierced at least. And I'm going to play my Teferi, check their counterspells, and then I'll bind their Teferi. Do I care about binding their Teferi? Force of Negation. Disappointing. Okay. I will bind your Teferi. It's already drawn a card, unfortunately, but I'll at least get it out of the way. Minamo. Oh, they're a One Ring deck, but they're not casting One Ring now, or they wouldn't use Minamo to do it. Firing a Lorien Revealed, pretty good. I'm going to hold on to my fetch land in case I draw Cavern of Souls. There's one Cavern in my deck that's actually an insane draw. I could try to walk them into a subtlety, or just send it on this One Ring. One Ring versus Omnath versus Solitude versus Keruga. Keruga draws 3 here. I'm just going to play Stomping Ground tapped and pass and try to get them to make a move with subtle and on something I can subtlety. Because I can outmuscle a big Planeswalker or something if I can get through their counterspell wall. And if they make the fight happen on their turn, that's appealing to me. I can just fire Solitude in here. I don't know how many creatures they're going to have. They might have their own Solitudes. And they're Jeskai. They probably do. But if I make them tap mana, that's good. Because I'd rather have an Omnath or a One Ring than a Solitude in play, even if they get a Solitude for the deal. We could just Lightning Bolt. Solitude is the response. Okay. Zap to my Solitude. Leyline Binding. I think Omnath... No, One Ring is the highest value thing here. One Ring. This is the one that'll take over the game if it sticks. Looks like they have another Force of Negation. They had to shock in a land to do it. Leyline bind you. They are at 7 somehow. Keruga's a draw 4 if it resolves. Preordain. Bottom. That's good news. They just bought Kahira. It's in hand now, but did not make a play. I'm just going to land drop pass here. Maybe I can start a fight on their turn with Subtlety versus Keruga, and their life total is so low that they kind of have to respect Subtlety just as a threat. There's the Keruga. Subtlety that. Boing. Now if they Solitude, they'll be almost out of mana. They could sneak a One Ring through here. Okay, Lightning Bolt. Card in your deck confirmed. Teferi would be my best draw. Alright, Omnath. Red, blue, white, green. I still think Keruga is better than Omnath. Especially since if Omnath happens, I get to also Keruga. They're Solituding in response, which means I can fetch to gain life here. If I had played both fetches, I could also Keruga this turn. Maybe that was a punt. Oh, okay. I will just Cavern on Hippo next turn. Unfortunately, they get to connect with Solitude in the interim, but this Cavern on Hippo is going to be a good time. Is Dinosaur or Hippo funnier? I think it's Hippo. Build 1 of Cavern. Uh-oh, something's happening. It's a lot of mana. Is it just Lorien revealed? I don't mind that so much. The One Ring. Okay. That card's good. They are drawing cards, which might have been a liability in the past, but it's currently pretty good for them. Ooh. Mama. They still only have 9 mana, though. Can't double spell that. I'm going to Cavern on Hippo. Uncounterable Hippo. Draw 4 cards, unless they kill it in response. Nice. That just happened. Teferi or One Ring. What would I rather have in play? Probably the Ring. Or they can untap their Ring and do stupid stuff. Alright, I'll fetch. They have way more life than they do. This Teferi's probably a better tester. As this is a now or never counter it situation. They're going to untap their Ring and try to draw more counters. And they seem to have missed. Now I can bounce their Solitude, but then they can replay. I think that's fine. I'm going to bounce Solitude. I don't mind losing Keruga. I just don't want them gaining life here. Because they ramp that Ring up to 2. They're at 10. If Teferi sticks around for a minute, I'm going to have Elish Norn plus Solitude going. 7 cards in hand, one of them Solitude. They got their own Teferi. That's fine. They're going to... oh, wow. Bouncing Keruga when I have Cavern on Hippo is a mood. What's the follow-up here? Oh, this is the combo. Now I just lose. I told you there was a combo in this deck, and they have the Teferi plus go off, and I can't Solitude here. Yeah, good pivot. Yep. Create a copy of this, which flickers Saheeli, which resets Saheeli. Then they can make another copy of this. Look at you. All right. Turns out playing the One Ring would have been better. And remember on like turn 2 or whatever when I said Reprieve isn't in normal control decks? I was right. Just pay attention to that stuff. The game went on so long that it got weird and I forgot, but okay, Force of Vigor out. I like Cosmic Rebirth because it's more Teferis basically. Endurance doesn't do anything in the matchup. I guess it is a flash threat if we value that at something. They didn't have any tech lands I would go after with Crumble to Dust. Sitting in Charmaw. And you can just play this as a 5 mana 4/4 flying that destroys the land. It's not nothing. It's not good though. I can Gone a Felidar Sovereign. I think this is where I want to be though. Our Pokemon have been revealed for game 2. I'm gonna keep my hand. It's got enough lands to start the party. I'm gonna start with this Tap Temple Garden. Land, yeah. That was the best draw, and I got it. Now I have to think about my land types. Ketria Triome adds red-blue, but not black. The other one adds black-blue, but not red. Red's more important than black as far as actually playing the game goes, including with the spell in my hand right now. Ketria Triome. I'm getting iced. Okay. That does stop me from casting the Fable this turn, but it's not a huge deal. Misty Rainforest doesn't fetch Godless Shrine. Maybe I should have thought about this. I can just grab the Triome, but that's a Triome that's not in my deck in this grindy matchup where cycling a land later might be good. Though, I did also lose last round, partially because I didn't have 10 mana, I only had 9. This sucks, but okay. I can bind the Teferi plus Slam Fable next turn. Get the Zagoth Triome. Oh, my own Teferi. Is that better? I actually don't think that it is. Fable. We've seen a bunch of Force Negations in their deck. They might just send it here. If Fable resolves, I'm pretty happy about it. And bind your Teferi. Okay. Good turn. And I am holding up Subtlety plus Solitude. They can't combo from 3 or 4 mana. It's a 6 mana minimum combo. Okay, so I think I just let this happen. It bounces my Goblin Shaman, which I'm not happy about. But it's not a huge deal. Preordain. Okay. Do I even discard anything, or do I want all these cards? I'm actually just going to keep them. Lands are not bad. White, blue, colorless, Teferi. Teferi could bounce my Fable and send it again. I'm going to do a fun trick, though. I'm going to bounce Leyline Binding, Legend Rule their Teferis, and then use the same Leyline Binding to get whatever Teferi they kept. Plains, Leyline Binding. Get rid of that Teferi. Sweet. Yeah, I get to draw a card and answer their Teferi and keep Leyline Binding in my hand by doing that line. And I found an Omnath along the way. And I currently have a Teferi to their no Teferi, which does appear to be an important aspect of this matchup. 4 mana for the 1 ring. That resolves. I was not able to leave up white on my turn because I needed double white from a board that couldn't make it. Fable flips here, plus Teferi. Omnath is green, white, blue, red. They're fetching in response. Alright, yeah, just getting that out of the way. F6 value under the Teferi. And I'm going to play Breeding Pool and gain 4 life. I can bind their ring in response to a tap, but then I am tapped out if they try to combo. I think I just have to let them draw cards with the ring. Binding it in response, they would get 1 instead of 2 cards. I'm not able to handle a hard cast Solitude right now because I have no blue card for this Subtlety. But it's actually an interesting choice whether they want Omnath or Reflection, because I can light them up with... Okay, yeah, I think they made the right choice here. I could Solitude and copy it on my turn. I actually wanted them to have the ring. I think burning them out is my plan. One of my own, huh? Plus Teferi, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh shit, I just tapped out a white. Damn it. I was just tapping my worst lands, but turns out my Triomes don't actually make that on their own. Whoops. Okay. Hope I don't lose because of that. I'm going to fire the Solitude. 1, 2. Stomping Ground. Gain 4 life. And attack them to 8. Okay, well, pitching Solitude better be good enough to break up their combo, or I'm going to lose. Tapping out a white was so horrendous there. That was completely unnecessary. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, they can't Teferi and Felidar and Saheeli here. Right, Felidar Guardian resolves. They're resetting their ring. This doesn't give them protection because they didn't cast it, but they don't have to take damage from it anymore. Saheeli resolves. And I'm going to Solitude the dog in response to the copy. Oh, they're Solituding my Omnath now. Okay. That does save a bunch of damage. I am untapping with a ring, though. And a Teferi that can activate. And Keruga still in my command zone. Solitude. Draw with the ring. Old Omnath action. White, green, blue, red. I would love to draw a land here, so I can hold up Subtlety. No luck. I am still representing Subtlety, but not in the way that I had hoped. I guess I can put Keruga in hand here. That's kind of free money. That's another blue card, and it just puts them in check for next turn. Yeah, they scry 1 and deal 1 to me with Saheeli. Felidar, I'm going to Subtlety the first one. I think Solitude is generally a better threat and answer in my deck than Subtlety. They can tap their ring to draw this one if they have another land to play. Just kind of commit them to that line, and then Solitude it, and then attack for lethal. I guess I'm 1 short because of the gain on Solitude. Okay, so this flickers Saheeli, resets the combo, and then I'll Solitude in response to the Saheeli doing stuff. Oh wait, no, they're dead to their ring. Yeah, okay. I was right. The ring will deal more damage than the Solitude gains them. Cool. And once you know about the combo, you can plan for it. I suspected the combo game one, but didn't actually do anything with that information. My deck does not improve here. Just these are the cards that I have. I'm going back in. This is a grindy one, but I am slightly ahead on clock. I have the Cavern in my opening grip. This is great. I'm going to keep my hand. The Cavern doesn't get to Fairy on the stack or Leyline Binding, but Cavern on Elemental really could crack open the mid-game. They preordained for a top-bottom. And I was just going to say Zagoth Triumph pops off the Sacred Foundry, then I drew it. I was going to fetch that, but since it's here, I'll just play it. Play Sacred Foundry tapped. I don't want to shock that in just for the possibility of Leyline binding something this turn, because the thing that I'd want to bind is Teferi, and you can't bind that once it's in play because of Teferi. Looks like they're going to ice my land in the end step. Yep, okay. Glad I didn't shock anything in. There's your Teferi. I'm not going to spend 2 cards subtletying that. It'll just be back. Figure it out later. Ooh. I think Fable is better than Teferi. They'd have to force some negation to interact with this. That's in. They've already minus this Teferi. They don't get the clear for free. They can't combo off of 4 mana. This is an investment in the future. Felidar. Oh no, this can flicker the Teferi. Smart. That deletes the Goblin. I still get to loot. Draw Aelish Nord, pretty powerful here. I don't think I need 2 Teferis. And do I want to hold this Windswept Heath for any reason? I am working my way up a curve here. I'm just going to discard a Teferi. I can Teferi, bounce their Felidar, and then bind their Teferi. It sucks that they have that Teferi, though. It always sucks that your opponent has Teferi. That's just a fact of life. Lanes, binding, take your Teferi. Again, this is a minimum 6 mana combo to present all at once. Think I'm safe to tap out here. And if I can get the Mother in, she's really good against the Solitude deck and the ETB combo deck. Then Fable plus Subtlety is a pretty dope little soft lock. They fetched for a tap land. What are we doing? 1 ring? Alright, just send in Felidar Guardian back down. Flickering Island. Okay, this looks like they're building up to the combo next turn. That is my read on the situation. Fable flips here. That's a blocker. Teferi gets to plus. I can Cavern on Elemental right now. I could also resolve Aelish Nord guaranteed right now. I think I want to Cavern on Elemental. Kind of redundant with the Teferi in play, but if they have 6 mana and 2 Saheelis, they can actually beat my squeeze here. But I would really like to be able to copy. Okay, sick. I need more blue than I tapped for. Hold up. Okay, this is great. I feel like I'm in a commanding position in this game now, because I can copy Subtlety with Reflection moving forward, and I'm pushing flying damage, and I'm going to resolve Mother. Plus Teferi. The correct colors to leave up is red. An island. Clicked on the wrong white card. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The Mother. Here she is. They can't combo. Solitude they just put on top of their deck is a 5 mana 3/2. And I can Subtlety stuff forever. Okay, opponent said, I'll quit for that. GG's. Nice, yeah. Aelish Nord just had to maneuver to a spot where she was going to do her thing. And once we knew about the combo, we could plan for it a little better. And we remain undefeated with Keruga. If you're looking to run a CEDH or 1v1 tournament, Eminence Gaming has your back with Command Tower. With Command Tower's intuitive tournament manager dashboard, you can handle decklist submission and player management with just a few clicks. Players just need to scan the event's QR code for access to the full tournament bracket, including seamless pairings and real-time standing updates. Take the guesswork out of tournament organizing. Try Command Tower for your next event. I'm on the play in round 3. I'm going to keep this hand. It needs another land, but I have Temple Garden, Lauren revealed to get us started, and then Teferi start cantripping. Omnath can pitch to Endurance if that's appropriate for the matchup. I am going to zap in the Temple Garden, though I may not cycle the Lorien revealed. Urza Saga. Right, turn 1 Urza Saga. Could be Hammer, could be Amulet. Okay, it's Amulet. If I don't cycle the Lorien, I get more looks at a land. Like, there's just more lands in the deck, so I am going to hold it. I still had to shock in the Temple Garden, though, just in case they were a Thoughtseize deck. All right, let's see how hard they pop here. Teferi has an opportunity to bounce Urza Saga next turn if they don't really do anything. Okay, that's great. End step fetch for Catria Triome and cycle for double white is something I'm going to want eventually. I can't get Zagoth here and complete the trifecta. I think I'm going to get Hallowed Fountain. Okay, Solitude is a great follow-up here because now I can pitch this and exile a Titan if they manage to string one together even after I bounce their Saga. And I'm just working my way up to Elish Norn here, who they have a really hard time beating. And if they just replay the other Saga, I'll play my other Teferi, bounce the second Saga, and we can do this. I can do this all day. This is America's ass. Plus Teferi. Another one. Bounce the Saga. I'm moving forward. They're not, is the difference here. Next turn I am going to have to do something, and then they will untap with 2 amulets. But I've made my big moves. I've bought the time I can buy. Those Teferis were both time walks. Solitude white card available. Elish Norn if I find the mana source. There's that Saga again. They have 8 cards in their hand now. Can they play out another thing, or are they going to be moving to discard? Cool. I'm not going to fetch because I want to draw land. Same reason I didn't cycle the Lorien revealed before. They discarded a Dryad of the Elysian Grove. I found a One Ring. I think I like the One Ring less than I like Omnath. Okay. White, red, blue, green, green, red, blue, white, red, green. All right, I can basically get anything here. Blue, white, red, green. If I draw a fetch land right now, I can play Elish Norn also. Hell yeah. That's the high roll I was looking for. Plains. I would be surprised if they can win this. Suddenly. Yeah, Elish Norn means that their lands don't untap from Amulet. Primetime is just a 6/6. Valakut doesn't deal damage. Yeah, okay, cool. Turn the corner on that one. Force of Vigor, good here. Bring in the second Elish. Subtlety is great. Obsidian Charmaw, it can be medium. Like, there will be spots where you just don't want this card, but there are also spots where you can keep them constricted. Like, if you ever get to Charmaw Keruga land that they had to bounce something to play through, you're going to feel pretty smart about it. There is a deck building issue here that I noticed off the deck list that is coming up for the first time, which is there are not a lot of green cards in this Force of Vigor deck. You basically have other Force of Vigors, Omnath, and the Endurances, and the matchups where both Force of Vigor and Endurance are good are pretty slim. Dead Gone is not textless, but I don't think it's actually good. The white cards are the best cards in my deck right now. Fire Ice pitches to Subtlety. Maybe I just don't bring in all the Charmaws. Like I said, they're like a fine tool if you make it to the mid game, but it's not like against Tron where you just need them early and often. Cosmic Rebirth can get back to fairies or fables that have gone away, and it ups my green count for Force of Vigor. Is that better than Fire Ice? Is the question that I have for myself. I think just on green count, I have to make this change. Okay, let's try it. Well, the green card I boarded in alongside Force of Vigor is in my opener. It is a 1-lander. I'm going to try it. Any fetch land sets this hand off. Okay, I have concerns. I will not be fetching. Simic Growth Chamber. All right, deck, come on. Hook it up. Uh-oh. Well, I mean, I deserve this, but I'm going to discard this Obsidian Charmaw. My opponent can probably safely and correctly deduce that my hand is full of interactive spells. So They did not do anything with that information, because I'm going to fire on this Saga and Dryad right now. Land. Subtlety, okay. Pitch Magic continues. Sun Home. One Ring. Well, can't interact with that right now. Yeah, we're probably going to lose to that. If I draw a fetch land, I can answer it. Okay, I understand that I kept a one lander, but also, it's turn 5. 23 lands in the deck. I've lost a lot of coin flips to get to this point. Spelunking, Mycosynth Gardens, Urza Saga. They're right back in business. Whoa. Okay, there's that card. And another Mycosynth Gardens. I mean, I'm done. I could still Subtlety and Solitude some stuff, but reasonably under the One Ring, drawing 3, 4, 5 cards a turn, I can skip that. Okay. Back in, and I just won't keep a sketchy hand this time. That hand was sick, though. And I did take 6 or 7 draw steps in that game, and if even 2 of them were lands, which I believe is expectation for 6 or 7 draw steps, probably that's a little below expectation, the hand would have been fine. Okay, 3 lands in this hand. Can never lose. I have Force of Vigor green card. I have mana to get to 3, and then I can choose whether Fable or Teferi makes more sense once we get there. And just like last game, or game 1, I'm going to save the Lorien Revealed. Now I have to use it, but for a minute there, I gave myself the 1 extra draw step I could. Arboreal Grazer on the filter land. It's got to make it work however he can. Growth Chamber, picked up the Mycosynth Gardens. Lorien Revealed, cycle this. I have to get an untapped land here, and then I have to fetch another land. I can't get all of my colors because both Triomes are islands, and Lorien Revealed only gets islands, which means I want to rule out black. I'm going to fetch the Ketria Triome with the Windswept Heath, which gives me red, blue, green. I'll do my best and get a white off of this. Red, blue, green. And I think I like Fable better than Teferi in this spot. Let's go. There's a good chance I even end up looting away the Teferi next turn with the Fable. They're just casting a ring. Getting paid with it. Okay, the Zagoth Triome. The best thing I can do with that anyway is cycle it. I will discard that. And I actually don't want this Teferi. I think there are better cards. And I can attack to make a treasure. And does Omnath... I get to draw a card. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I could Cosmic Rebirth my Teferi, bounce my Fable, but I can't replay the Fable. I could put Keruga in hand. I'm just deciding whether I want to play my land and just play Omnath or get the full fetch out of it. I think I'd like the full fetch out of it. Blue, red, white, green, land, mana. If I'm just getting Keruga, I can get a shock land here. If I'm going to bring back Teferi, I don't think that's important. Yeah, I'm not going to do that. I'll get Temple Garden and double up white. Keruga in the grip. And I'm going to pass with that and hope that Force of Vigor can survive me this turn. Force of Vigor hits Amulet, Dryad of the Elysian Grove, and Urza Saga from important cards in their deck. And Spelunking, apparently. That's part of their deck now. And we did see it last game. I've seen it a bunch of times, but it's also a target for Force of Vigor. This second Omnath is basically free pitch to Force of Vigor, because Legend. Gruul Turf arrives untapped. I can have 10 mana next turn if I Keruga into Elishnorn. That is a thing that I can do. Simic Growth Chamber is their land that they played for turn, picking up another Simic Growth Chamber. They got big plans for the future. Summoner's Pact. Okay. Oh, lands just enter untapped, right? Spelunking. Or I can Force of Vigor Spelunking in response to Primetime Trigger. They're currently only showing me 5 mana. Okay. Azusa will change that. That's a lot more mana suddenly. I'd be a lot happier with a Subtlety or a Solitude in my hand, but this Force of Vigor is going to try to hold the fort. Azusa resolves. They get to play. That's land number 2. If I hit the Spelunking right now. They have one more land drop available, and it would have to be 2 mana to make Primeval Titan. Yeah, I think if this is ever going to happen, it should just happen now. And I know the ring is indestructible, but I got 2 targets, might as well use them. Okay, now they pick up a land that they can play, but it will not be untapped unless they've been sandbagging an amulet, but then they'll only have 6 mana at the end of the chain, or only 5 instead of 6. Arboreal Grazer, okay. Another Growth Chamber, pick up the Talaria West again. They have to pay for a Pact next turn. I got that going for me. Breeding Pool, not the excitement I was looking for. Okay, if I Cosmic Rebirth my Teferi first, I get more cards off Keruga, but then I have less mana to use the cards off Keruga, and I think between Elish Norn and Solitude, I would rather have more mana post-Keruga. Omnath trigger, get a Forest, that just straight up casts the Hippo. It's good for 3 cards. For 2 cards, is this other? Each other, oh, cowards. Why would you word it like that, you wuss? Okay. Attacking with Goblin and Omnath. Omnath will at least get an E tier. I can Cosmic Rebirth a land to get an Omnath deal 4 trigger, but that doesn't actually do anything. I will simply play my own One Ring and try to survive a turn cycle. And then we'll figure it out later. Drew another ring. Okay. They've got to pay for a Pact. They take 2 from One Ring. They don't currently have an untap effect. That could change. Keruga not cantripping off himself is deeply upsetting. This thing costs 8 mana up front. You can't even get a cantrip on your 8 mana 5/4. Okay, they have an amulet. They could do a bunch of stuff here and present a powerful board state from which like Valakut kills all my creatures. They can't kill me through the One Ring though. And I have 3 of them. I can chain them together to fog 3 times while I try to figure it out and answer their board. I am a little worried, though. I was hoping for more out of that Keruga. Literally, I was hoping to draw more cards than it actually draws. Cultivator Colossus. Okay, that's way worse than Primetime for me. Probably. At least I suspect it will be. Okay, here comes their whole deck. Okay, they appear to have stopped at however many lands this is. They've got some triggers to stack. 16 minutes is plenty of time for them to navigate all this. It's just, can I grind through with my rings and Kiki-Jiki copies and stuff and get a game plan together? In Mycosynth Gardens copied Amulet, they've got 2 of those now. Looks like they're going again. All right, they've got 3 amulets now. 4 amulets. I think they have 1 land drop left, if I've been keeping count correctly. It's 1 or 0. I honestly forget. Too much has been going on in this game. 5 amulets. Oh, this rules. Defense grid, okay. Cool. I can have 6 now. There's Dryad, that sucks. That lets them wrath me, even if they can't actually get through the One Ring to kill me. They can kill all my creatures, and then I just lose on the following turn. I don't actually have a sweeper that can mop up a board. Like, if I had a Supreme Verdict in my deck, I could do One Ring stuff for a while and work my way up to that. Not a thing my deck offers, though. There's a Pact. There's a Primeval Titan. Here comes some lands. If I didn't have the One Ring, I would have conceded like 3 game actions ago. But let's see what they do here. If anything, it's really for my own education, because every time I play against Amulet, I'm like, I don't think they can win here, and then they do. With some card I've never seen. Or some interaction of cards that hadn't occurred to me. 2 Valakuts. These will kill my creatures. And they have targeted Reflection of Kiki-Jiki and Goblin Shaman token. They found another Mycosynth Gardens. They could have 6 amulets right now if they wanted. And with 6 amulets plus Dryad of the Elysian Grove, every land coming into play tapped is 6 mana of whatever colors you want in any combination. This is fun. Amulet's very exciting. It's not for me. I will never learn to play this deck. But it's very exciting to watch it move stuff around. Another Pact. Let's go. Another Dryad, which will get them another land drop and redundancy on Valakut stuff. Slayer Stronghold. deals 3 to Keruga. They can give primetime haste now and bash me, and then that's a bunch more Valakuts to kill all my creatures. Here comes that. 2 Vesuvas. Become 2 Valakuts. Yeah, I mean, they have 11.5 minutes, but this is a lot of triggers to stack. And Valakut is optional. You may deal 3 damage, so it's not like they have to start roasting their own stuff after my creatures are all dead. It takes 0 damage after all that. Okay, I take 1 in my upkeep. Let's just figure out how annoying I can be over the next several turns. Eilish Norn is a step in the right direction, perhaps. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. New ring. Who dis? I actually want to keep my old ring to draw more cards starting next turn. And blue, blue, white. It's a fairy in here. I'm going to bounce Cultivator Colossus or Primeval Titan. I think Primeval Titan. And decking them or killing them to their own ring are the ways that I can win this game. They gotta pay for some packs. They take 3 from the 1 ring. I'm just F6'd over here. Chilling. In my lane, moisturized. I can play another 1 ring next turn. And then at some point I can Cosmic Rebirth it to Fairy to bounce and replay another ring. I don't know that I can get Eilish Norn in at any point in between all of that. A land drop picks off to Fairy. Really wish I had a Supreme Verdict in my deck. Though I am a deck full of creatures that counts on permanence, so can't get too much out of that. They're still playing lands and clicking through 6 amulet triggers on each land that comes into play. Just watching that clock tick down with my fingers crossed. And we all saw me play against LotR combo last game. If I wasn't doing this ring thing, I would have conceded. I'm not just trying to get a time win when I'm making content, but that is also a win con at the moment. A 3rd Dryad. No attacks. Okay. Force of Vigor. Someday. Activate my ring. 2 Leyline Bindings. I can access my white source now. Or my black land. I have plenty of white sources. Another ring. I will continue to keep the bigger one. And then Leyline Binding. Oh, I have to fetch first. That's right. I just said those words. Gotta get my Godless Shrine in here. Leyline Binding. The Cultivator. Leyline Binding. The Asusa. Maybe the second one should have been Defense Grid. Whatever. Go. I have 2 more Teferis and 1 more Cosmic Rebirth in my deck to chain rings with. Okay, they're ringing now to stop the damage from the ring. They realized my devious plan. Okay, take 3 from this ring. 1, 2, 3, that's Teferi. 1, 2, 3, 4, that's ring. There are Omnaths in my deck still as well. Okay, I'll draw some cards. Something's happening in response. Can they make land drops at instant speed? Seiju. Oh shit, I fucked it. Yeah, I should not have exiled that thing. Now I just lose. Damn it. Okay. Well, that's bad. I'll get this Plains, and I can kill 2 Dryads, but not 3. Maybe I can get 3. Okay. How do I want to do this? Or I can't Cosmic Rebirth and out to a Dryad. Yeah, I should not have put that under there. That was so bad. Okay. I have to ice something and draw Solitude is the answer. Solitude off the top. I don't ask for much. Solitude. Shit. All right, now I'm going to lose. Let's see how many lands they put into play. Yeah, I did all that, and I messed up at the very end. Killed by my own thing. And they have exactly 3 Dryads when I can deal with 2. Okay, I am dead now. I'm not going to make them click through all this. I fucked that up. I forgot about... I had the thought a couple turns ago, like, how can they make a land drop at instant speed? Because that's how I lose. And obviously, I just give them the answer to do that. Whoops. I still win this game with a Solitude, though. If I can pitch one of these Eilish Norns, kill this, Force of Vigor the other 2, maybe win this game is a little generous, because then I just get attacked with Cultivator Colossus. Alright, I still lose this game. On to the next round. The official BoshNRoll Island Ponder Keep shirt is available exclusively through Coalesce Apparel. This Magic player-owned business is a staple of our community. They keep this channel on the air, and it's my pleasure to partner with them for this product. Coalesce is the best Magic apparel on the market. They have awesome new designs coming out all the time. Use code BoshNRoll to get 10% off your order, only at coalesceapparel.shop. I'm on the draw in round 4. I'm going to keep this. I got 2 lands and some stuff. Steam Vents, okay. Grief. Alright. Pitching Living End. Alright, we're playing against Living End, which is a bummer because I actually had the Endurance, which has been the worst card in my deck up to this point, but I just have Endurance plus Pitch Endurance available in my opening hand. But they're on the play with a Grief. And they're on the play, which means they get to see that Teferi and combo before it. Cycling Troll of Khazad-dûm, Straight Wraith, Striped Riverwinder, and there's the Overgrown Tomb. I think I actually do want to get the Ketria Triome here, even though it reduces my land count in my deck. I can Leyline Binding with what I have. Ooh, I get a turn to breathe. This only matters if I hit the land drop, though. Okay. Oh, they've griefed me again. They're going to strip the Teferi here. Now I need a land drop and an interaction spell to keep going, which is not enough. Not possible in one draw step, but they did pitch a second Living End. And missed a land drop. Okay, come on, deck. Okay, we're playing. We're gaming. Fetch for... And Godless Shrine gives me 5 colors. That might be worth doing. Yeah, like, damage is part of this game, but also getting some velocity here. Force Negation, pitching Shardless Agent. Okay. They probably have some Cascader in their hand, and no Cycler. Please don't draw the land. No! Alright, we lose. Yep. Okay. Needed that land drop to fade for like a very long time. Though, I mean, to be fair, I did have Teferi and Endurance, and they just had it beat, because their deck is good. Alright, first time seeing Keruga not be my companion. Subtlety, Norn, cards that are worse. Dead Gone. One Ring might be okay. I mean, I like all the pitch elementals. I like that Cosmic Rebirth can regrow a Teferi that's been taken in response to a Cascade spell. Fire Ice can be Time Walk. Maybe I just leave Keruga in the sideboard, and it doesn't belong in the deck, and it's not my companion. Leyline Binding might be mid. The trick with these decks is that at some point they stop being Living End combo and they start being turn 6 of a game of draft, and they just start playing a bunch of big draft commons for 5 to 7 mana. And you have to be able to beat that half of the deck too. Force of Vigor doesn't do anything except pitch to Endurance, which is an important function, but I'm bringing in Cosmic Rebirths. Keruga pitches to that too. Do I have another cut? I like Fable. Maybe Eilish doesn't matter. And I would like to have her in play, because they do have some ETB triggers and stuff, but they just Living End her away. Maybe I should take out the one I already have too. What would I bring in over that? Anger of the Gods doesn't kill enough of their things. And Nord still pitches to Solitude though. That might be good enough. Okay, let's go. I'll keep my hand. No longer a Keruga strategy. I am going to fire the Chalice out before they can grief it. They can Force of Negation or Force of Vigor it, but let's get grief covered. Just the odds don't get better later that they won't have a force for this. They actually get worse, and at least playing around grief is something I can do. I have all the Jeskai colors here, so I can get Zagoth Triome and have my domain together, even though I'm down to, what, 1 Leyline Binding? Yeah, I care about that less than I normally do. A Sacred Foundry. I'm going to shock that in. I'm going to try to ice on their turn. Maybe I should save this till they have 3 mana, though. Whoops. Yeah, that's the better way to do that. I could have not shocked that in, and it would have been fine. Okay, I'll do it this turn. I also don't have to do this if they don't Force of Vigor. They've got to fetch. Wow, tap land, no cycle. I'm going to ice the Breeding Pool, because that one can play the Foundation Breaker. Subtlety is great. This stops elementals they might use to try to stop my Chalice. Okay, speaking of elementals, I can at least make a run out of it if they do resolve a living end or put one on the stack. Blue, white, red, green. Okay, yes, I can get a basic here. Blue, white, red, green. Omnath. They can Mystical Dispute him, or if they, I don't even know if they play Subtlety, but if they do, it's available. He's in there, though. Shocked on a Breeding Pool in the end step. Do they have the Brazen Bar, or do they have Waker of Waves? Seiju. Okay, yep, that works too. I get a bunch of mana in the end step that I cannot use effectively. That's annoying. Good timing on that, I guess. Ketria Triome and get 4 mana. Or no, that was my first land. I gained 4 life. Great. Alright, it didn't matter. Cycle to Generous End. They do only have 1 creature in their graveyard. The Generous End is the second one. They don't even win if they Living End here. Okay. They want to bet, though. Okay, I can Subtlety their Shardless Agent, but that means it's on top of their deck and they can fire it again next turn. Oh, I should have done it in response to the trigger. That's way cooler. But then maybe they don't Living End. Okay. Solitude, pitching Omnath. I'm going to exile. Do I want to exile this Omnath or leave it in my graveyard for the next Living End? Yeah, I'm just going to target nothing. And I actually think I just beat their Living End here because they only have 2 creatures and I get to exile the good one. Yeah, I'd rather just keep these other cards in my hand. Exile the big one. They got a food token and they are targeting themselves with Architects of Will, looking for the second round rather than trying to screw me. Which makes sense because they are behind. Oh, that's kind of dark. This food token is an orc and a spiderweb. Yeah, I guess certain creatures would eat that. Fire, Ice, Subtlety, Omnath. Alright, I'm going to fire Omnath in. That is my white card to pitch to Solitude, but if they Living End from this board, I just get the other Omnath back, and somewhere along the line, it's just not even a good card for them anymore. Gain some life, and I could Solitude something on the hard cast, but that creates the same problem. I'll offer a trade. I mean, they want cards in their graveyard, and I also kind of want them there for me in case they do another thing. I don't know, this is just sort of a weird spot to be in, where Living End is better for me than it is for them. But also I need to attack and deal damage somehow. But if I get a trade here, then Omnath could start attacking next turn. It's a wild ride. Okay, they're just taking the beats. I can also fire my Solitude if they put a Living End on the stack. Okay, suddenly they're interested in attacking. Block with Omnath. Violent Outburst can just be the +1. They'll probably decline this Living End because it's bad. Yeah, they're just playing Violent Outburst. Okay. Cool trick. I fell for it. You got me. I guess I might as well fetch and gain 4 life here. Plains, gain the life. I did have the fleeting thought of maybe I should block the 2/2 in case there's a trick, and then I had the second immediately wrong thought where I was like, nah, they don't play any tricks. But obviously, one of the core engines of their deck is also a combat trick. It just doesn't usually come up that way. It did reveal to me 34 cards and then decline Living End. We got Subtleties in the deck confirmed. We knew about Grief, Mystical Dispute confirmed, Otawara. I don't see any Force of Vigors in this pile. Doesn't mean they don't have them. Just observing that I don't see one here. And now we're kind of playing that awkward limited game where they have creatures that are below rate but perfectly big once you have mana. Great once they're in play is the terminology for that. I am just going to fetch another tap land in Fable and Mirror Breaker. I like this quite a lot. They could hardcast Force of Negations on these, yeah. Thought you might. And yeah, I'll continue offering the trade here. Keep my graveyard stocked. Also stocks their graveyard. There could be any manner of weird text on their cyclers. Like, I don't even know. I have a vague idea, but there are probably some cycle effect in their deck that has surprising words on it. Okay, now I'm playing Drago versus Living End. Oh, that's good. Fully expect a Force of Negation on this. But if they don't have one, they're in trouble. Riverwinder cycle in response. They're digging. And scoop into that. Okay, cool. Alright, managed to make Living End weird enough. I got some stuff in my graveyard. It's better than theirs. Exile-based removal. All that plays pretty well. Going in. 2 lands, no hate cards, big Kerugs. Or, Teferi's kind of a hate card. No pitch elementals, no designated hate cards, though. I'm going to mulligan this. Okay, now we're cooking. Keep. And bottom... I think I bottomed the Lorien Revealed. Yeah. Because that's like a land but can be discarded versus just playing 2 lands. I need a green card before this Endurance kicks in. Both my Triumphs make green. There's Teferi. I'm going to play Ketria first because that does more actual colors from my deck. I may have actually messed this up with the Lorien Revealed. Now that I'm seeing how these are sequencing out, their turn 2, or my turn 2 is going to be their turn 3 when they can start doing stuff, which is a worrisome time for me to have an ETB tapped land. Grief pitching a Living End. They see 3 cards that are tough for them. One of them currently doesn't matter. Okay, they took that one. That makes me think that they have Force of Negation in their hand. If they took the creature that currently isn't even supported over the 2 Planeswalkers that I can cast with my lands. Uh-oh. I have to fetch Shock here for Hallowed Fountain. And then just hope that I draw a land, because I have to ice them this turn. Ice the island. That's the one that can cast Mystical Dispute. Okay, they can't cast Mystical Dispute. They can Force of Negation. Hope I guessed right. Question mark. Disappointed face. Pitching Subtlety. Okay. That's gone, and if they just fire the thing right now, I lose. Shocked in a land. Oh, okay. Well, that's bad too, but it's not as bad. Cosmic Rebirth off the top. That's not it. Fable, get in. Play a fetch land, and I will pass here. Did they not have it, or were they just taking a turn to check? You would attack first anyway, so we don't actually have any information yet. Don't do me like this. Just brick again. Let me go to a turn and select a bunch of cards. That's what I need from you. Alright, they are in the cast creatures phase of the game and hellbent about it. Alright. Can I find an Omnath or something big here? Alright, deck, hook it up. Misty Rainforest is not the hookup. I will loot away Zagoth Triome, and I think Misty is worse than Windswept Heath. Teferi. Okay, I mean, he doesn't really solve any problems at this point. I can bounce Curator, attack, make a treasure, then Teferi just dies to grief, and they can cycle Curator and maybe even get a better deal out of things. I would love to bounce my Fable and replay it, but I have to lose my Goblin Shaman to do that. Fetch, get basic planes, white, blue, colorless. Yeah, the second creature is tough here, and the Curator, if this was just a 4/4, it'd be fine, but it cycles for more action. I don't really want to go to 3 if they just decide not to attack through my Fable. Like, if they ignore Teferi, if I bounce Fable, refire it here, is that even good? I think I actually bounce Grief here. Oh, no! Oh, maybe it's fine. Alright. Attack with the Goblin anyway. I bet wrong, but at least I am able to cast this card when they grief me. They have to think about fire here. Fire, dead gone. Maybe I just get away with a no block here, but attacking to make a treasure is so good that they probably have to think about it. Okay. They thought about it and came to the correct conclusion. Now I hope they attack Teferi first and then try to grief me, and then I can spin up a fresh Teferi. Even better is if they have drawn a Cascade spell this turn. Right, they're griefing. Is Teferi better than Endurance? Yes, I think so. Green, white, colorless. Yes, I would like this back. Grief's going to miss, but they're going to see that my hand is blank. But I'm untapping with all my mana and a fresh Teferi. Solitudes are in my deck somewhere. Keruga! Or I can draw 2 cards that I now understand is 2 cards. And I have 2 blockers for grief. Yeah, I'm going to bounce Curator. Oh my goodness, we're doing it. Okay. Flooded Strand. Solitude, trying to get stable and stay stable. Right now, they have one unknown card in their hand, plus a card that I know does not beat me. And they just drew for turn. Cycling Striped Riverwinder. That doesn't change what I know. That was a mystery card, now it's a different mystery card. Architects of Will, yeah. Okay. This is the nuts. We're going to pop off here. I'm going to copy Solitude, bash for 6, draw 4. We're living the life. They're architecting themselves, trying to get something going here. Okay, fetching the end step. I'm going to need all my mana next turn. Steam Vents looks as good as anything. I don't think it matters. I'm not going to spend any effort figuring out what one is actually correct. Okay. Reflection, copy Solitude. Opponent, don't you dare concede. Not until I cast Keruga. You can concede after that. There's been a very long pause on this Reflection targeting Solitude. I don't know what my opponent's thinking about. Maybe they just took a walk. I hope they don't make me sit here for 9 minutes. We'll find out soon. Okay, cool. They heard me. Exile that. And I'm going to get him with the Keruga Awuga here. Good for 4 cards. Boing. This Windswept Heath. If there is a Plains left in my deck, which I'm honest, yes, the Sacred Foundry is still in there. That means I can Leyline Binding if I need to. Not that I expect that to be a concern, because what could they do? And yeah, they agree. Yeah! Keruga coming in. That was a really fun, well-fought match against Living End. A lot of the time, they either just dumpster you or you dumpster them with some hate cards, but games 2 and 3 were both really back and forth, really cool stuff happening. On to the final round. We're a few rounds into the video. Thanks for sticking with me. Friendly reminder that if you're still here and having fun, smash that subscribe button. And if you want to play what I'm playing, you can use my affiliate link for TCG Player to support the channel while you shop for cards, and you can try any deck anytime with a cardhoarder.com loan account for Magic Online. All these links are in the video description below. Now back to the league. I'm on the draw in the final round. Positive records locked, playing for the bread and butter 4-1. I technically have 3 lands in my hand. Unclaimed territory naming human. Either vile, okay. Spooky. This Misty Rainforest does not get Sacred Foundry, which is what I would need to Leyline Binding and be happy about it next turn. Cavern on human. Viling in a 1-drop human. Champion of the Parish and Thalia. How do I want to deal with these? I have the Dead Gone. Yeah, I think I let this happen, and then I spend 2 mana on Dead Gone next turn. If I'm doing that, I can get Basic Forest, cycle it for Steam Vents. That's 2 colors, and then my next one. All right, I'm gonna try to conserve life points while also doing what I need to do here, which is kind of a difficult thing to thread. Steam Vents, and I would like to dead the Champion of the Parish before it gets any bigger. Solitude giving me a nice buffer here of things I need to care about. Hopeful Initiate. All right, that's that. I have Leyline Binding in my deck. That actually matters a lot. Okay, I have to respect this thing. Okay, I think I have to exile Solitude or Solitude. Nope, this is a legend, so I'm not going to remove the legend in combat in case they play a second copy, but I can. Training is when it attacks, right? How does this card work? It attacks with another creature with greater power. Okay. Opponent's got 2 cards left in their hand, and I'm holding at least 3 answers in mine. Oh no, a card I have to read. Journey on. Create X map tokens, or X is 1 plus the number of opponents who control an artifact. That's 0. And when Kellen Daring Traveler attacks, reveal a top card of your library. If it's a creature with mana value 3 or less, put it into your hand. Otherwise, you may put it into the graveyard. Okay, well, I mean, I'm going to have to kill that. And I don't have to do anything now, because Solitude is not a elemental cycle. Oh, that's messed up. Okay, how do I leverage this best? I'm going to pitch Omnath to get rid of Thalia. And then that lets me cycle for Hallowed Fountain, who then lets me Leyline Binding for 2 mana, which can get rid of the Kellen. And my life total is pretty low. They have 1 card in hand, and I can answer multiple more permanents with what I've got, and my next land casts Omnath, and they can't train their Hopeful Initiate at the moment. Okay, I could find the Vial and just be done worrying about that. I could put Keruga in hand. I don't think that's the play. I can also just hold up Fire. Yeah, I'm going to pass. Missing that land drop stinks a little. Let's see if they tick this Vial up. They left it on 3 and didn't do anything for a turn cycle with it. I like that. If they do have a haste creature, I'll see it coming. Okay, I'm going to fire this. Valia's Lieutenant is a 2-drop without flash. I think their hand pretty clearly is not anything right now, and this will reset the Vial and mess them up pretty good. Boing. Cool. And I drew Force of Vigor with Dancer's Vial in the future. Just looking for this 4th land to get Omnath going. Opponent has the opposite problem. They have more lands than their deck ever wants. And we're about to see their last card. A 3-drop human. Mantis Rider. Blast from the past. Do they care about the fairy, or are they just going to the dome? The dome it is. I think that's the correct choice. Elish Norn, Mother of Machines. Alright, deck, come on. It's no longer funny, if it ever was. Okay, I'm going to get rid of the Mantis Rider. I probably should have waited for it to attack, because if they had killed Leyline Binding somehow, then they would have still been able to attack with their haste creature there. I don't know how that would have happened, though. Okay, here we go. Finally, Cavern on Elemental, Hellbend opponent. I'm just going to ignore Thalia here and put a bigger creature into play. Removal spells are good for a while, but eventually you have to have a bigger creature than your attacking creature deck opponent. Force of Vigor can pitch to Force of Vigor. Those are not getting any better. I don't even mind 2-for-1ing myself to remove the Vial, and opponent's just done. Okay. This is a pretty exciting final match. I haven't seen humans in a very long time. I guess people out here trying whatever now that you can't Fury anymore. Just let my people go. I don't think I need Elish Norn. There are some humans with ETB abilities, but a lot of them are attack triggers or just statics. Sweepers come in. I like the rebirths. I actually don't mind Endurance just being a booty I can put into play at 3 mana instead of a higher cost. Obsidian Charm was actually really funny because all of the Cavern of Souls land variants do tap for colorless. This can be a 2-mana 4/4 flying. Land destruction doesn't matter, but a big creature does. Interesting. All right, I'm thinking about that. Teferi is pretty mid in the matchup. It pitches for Solitude, but that's the only thing it really does. And if we're talking about keeping Endurance in just for its ass, Obsidian Charma is way better than that, because it'll probably cost less and do something, and it's bigger. Interesting. Yeah, I think I'm in for this plan. I like it. Let's go. Okay, 3 lands, a Subtlety, a Solitude, stuff to do. They played a land that taps for colorless. Someday. Noble Hierarch. Please, deck, give me a Dead Gone. Boo. Okay, I'll just pass. I am going to ignore this thing and try to beat the things that come out of it rather than try to mana screw them. Thalia, okay. Another colorless land, another Noble Hierarch. Alright, I was right not to try to screw them. I'm going to get the Ketria Triome out here. That one taps for red. Hello? That's going to be pretty messed up. Oh, right now, actually, if I pitch Cosmic Rebirth, Exile Thalia, bing bing, kill their 2 mana dorks, suddenly we have a plan. Okay, I talked myself into that. Pitch the Rebirth, Exile Thalia, you're fired, splat. Okay, hopefully that took a lot of pressure off. That was a 3-for-3. Oh wow, they don't even want to play anymore. Cool. Went for the throat, had the opportunity. A 4-1 result with Keruga control, and arguably the loss was a punt. Inarguably I punted, but it's arguable whether I was in that game or not, even without the punt. But yeah, this deck actually hung up pretty strong here. Like I said in the deck tech, how do I interact with the modern format in a deck that can't play 1 and 2 drops? Question is pretty well solved. We played against Living End in the league. Rhinos is still a deck. It is not hard to build a functional deck with Keruga as a companion. the argument is Keruga good enough to be worth building a deck around as a companion? And I drew cards off Keruga, I think twice this league, maybe 3 times. It was pretty good every time it happened. Maybe it's worth doing. And this shell is still just widely explorable. Like Endurance, Force of Vigor, Eilish Norn. There's some choices in here that could be different choices. You could max out on Fable. Brazen Borrower card I mentioned, and then the weirder ones, the Colossal Sky Turtle, the Mirror Shell Crab. Those are things you could do. Mystical Dispute. There's a lot of room to wiggle in the shell, and the shell itself is, like I said, largely solved. This isn't even a deck building conundrum. This is just taking a different engine in Modern and applying it to a control deck rather than a tempo or combo deck. And it worked out really well. Palpatine, I'm impressed. Thank you for sharing your deck with us. Everybody, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, check out the Patreon, check out the decks on Moxfield. I'll see you next time.